So this is the second session that we've had in this tutorial on building a website using the Kadence theme. And remember, we're only going to use the free elements of the theme and the free plugins that are available in Kadence blocks. We won't be using any page builder like Elementor or Divi or WP Bakery or any of those. We will simply be using the Kadence theme and the native WordPress editor called Gutenberg, and using a set of blocks available for free on the Kadence from Kadence blocks. Okay, now this is the site we've been working on, and we've done very little of it so far. We've set up the basic framework, done some basic things in the theme, and we've done a very simple header and footer. This is the site that we've been working on, and this is how much we've done so far. That little part of the header and this very simple footer down here. Now, rather than be filling out the home page in this tutorial, you'll see in the program that what we are looking to do is to learn about posts or the blogs, and creating posts and laying posts out, both an individual post and a collection of posts. Now, if we go to this site, this is the page that we are, or the site that we are using as a guide, and we are doing a sort of a copy of the important elements of this page. And so what we're looking at today is this element down here, and this shows a number of posts. Now, a post in WordPress terms is really just a single item of information. Now, it can be a blog post, and it could be a daily journal. It could be some information, content about a particular subject. It might be a review of a particular book, or a recipe, or a review of a piece of music, or any of those, which is a piece of content that is a whole within itself. And then there can be a blog, is really a collection of these individual posts. So this is a post, and it's titled Jump, Bounce, Laugh. This is another post, How to Choose the Right Plants. These are all individual subjects. When they are put together, they are called a blog, and these are an archive of posts. So what we're going to do today is learn how these are some of the layout elements of creating posts, individual and archive. So let's have a look here. What I have done already is gone ahead and created some of this, and we will have a look at the way I've set this up, and then go to another site, this one here, and actually build it. So let's now have a look at how this was set up. Having a look at the theme, we'll go to Dashboard, and we'll go to Appearance, and we'll go to Customize. So from here, this is the customizer, and it allows you, we were here in the last tutorial, and we will be here quite a lot, because this is where you set the design elements, the global elements of the design of this site. And rather than be adjusting small things on every page and every blog and every paragraph, we set the global design, and then the whole site can be changed if we decide to change a color, or change the font, or change the size of the font. And so what we're going to do now is look at some particular items about blog posts. So in here we can see we're going to be headed here. I want to do one small thing before we go there, and that is to do with the sidebar. Now we're about to look at a sidebar. Let me show you what I mean. If we have a look at this post, you'll see we're going to look at this in detail in a minute. But you'll see this over here is the sidebar, and it's a really good place to put things like search, recent posts. Some people have calendar in there, comments. The category list is a great thing to put in there. There are many different widgets that for different websites, the sidebar is very, very useful. But watch this. As soon as you scroll down through the content, you'll find that the sidebar is not very long, but the content is. And you get to the bottom and you're now missing the navigational things that become available or are available in the sidebar. So there's one thing we're going to do first, and we're going to make that sidebar sticky. And to do that, we go to General, and we go to Sidebar, and we just enable this here, Enable Sticky Sidebar. While we're here, I'll show you what that means. Here we are scrolling, 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 and the sidebar is sticky. It's staying there. It becomes available even at the bottom of the content. We're still able to get into the sidebar and use the navigational elements there. So that's the first thing we're going to do, set that. Now we're going to go to back one, to General, and we're going to go to Blog Posts. Now there's two sets of global settings that we need to take into account here. The first is to do with the single post layout. That is how this looks. This page is called a single post layout. There's just one post on this page. It has a title, it has categories, it has some meta, it has a featured image, and it has some content. So how we can lay this out, we're going to use this one to demonstrate some of the things that are available in the theme. Let's go to the single post layout. Firstly, we get to choose whether we actually want to show the post title. You might wonder why you would ever not want to, but there are some design elements and some page designs where you want to handle the title differently. But let's see what happens when you turn it off. At the moment it's on. Here's the title. We turn it off, and all of a sudden we don't have the title shown. But we do want that on. Now, within the title, you'll note this block here. You'll notice that there are a few extra options we can have. We can have the title shown above the content or within the content. At the moment, this is within the content. If we go to that one, it puts the title up above the content. Now, there's lots of different ways that can be designed, but let's stick with the in the content. So the title is down in here. We can align it left, right, or center. Let's just leave it where it is. And there are elements that we can include in this block here. You'll notice that it's got a category, a title, and something called meta. Meta is just some extra information about the post, includes things like the author and the date, etc. There's an element that's not been turned on. Let's turn it on. It's called a breadcrumb, and essentially it gives you like leaving a breadcrumb trail that someone can follow along behind. This is a really good navigational way of being able to get back and get back. And it's also coming forward. It helps the Googlebot know something more of the structure of how you have laid out. So that's actually a very good thing to have in. This here is the categories, and you can turn that on or off at this point. It's actually a very handy thing to have on, because we will then be able, if we like this blog post, we might be able to find others by clicking by clicking this here, which is the category. That's another thing which is often over here in the sidebar, is a category list, so that we can find other posts similar. The next thing down is called the meta. We can decide what we want to show. For example, let's not show the author. So the author is now gone. We do have the date. That's probably all we want. We don't need any of those other things there. In the title, So let's move on. Default post layout. Now this is how the whole thing is to be laid out, and we've already chosen and settled that we're going to use the right sidebar layout. I can show you quickly what they look like. Full width just goes right across. That's a narrow one, very narrow. That's a normal width. Left sidebar puts the sidebar over that side, and right sidebar with a sticky sidebar we have already settled on and determined that. And it's going to be sidebar 1 we're using. The content style, we're able to have it boxed, which means it's within a container, and we could have a different colour on the background of the site to the content, and we will probably do that later. Or it can be unboxed, and that just means it won't show very much difference here because we don't have a different background site colour. Let's leave it that way. This one is an interesting one. The vertical content vertical padding. It's this area up here, and we can disable it. And although that is very jarring, and it feels like now it's all too tight, and similarly at the bottom, the post is very hard up against the footer. So let's enable it and see that it actually now is breathing a bit better. The next thing down, show the featured image. This is the featured image here. And we really need a featured image, but let's see what it looks like without. Boring, boring, boring. It's just words, 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 and there's not even any images in this particular post. These are similar posts, but on this one, let's have the featured image back again. Now, this is an interesting design element. We can feature the featured image in a few places. We can put it above the title, and there it is. There's the featured image, there's the title. Or we can put it below. Also a bit boring. There's all the title up there, there's the featured image, there's the content. Or there's this nice little feature that Cadence has included where it goes slightly behind. So here's the padding, here's the featured image, and the title is slightly inset into the image. Personally, I like it. We're going to leave it that way. Now, down here, this is also important. This is the ratio that the featured image should be shown, horizontal to vertical. And we could make it square. No. 4:3. 4:3 was the size of your old TV, the size of the old standard video. 3:2 is getting a bit more towards it. 2:1 is a bit horizontal. This one, 16:9, is, in my opinion, the best one to use for a number of reasons. And you really should design your featured image to be in a 16 across this way, 9 ratio. Now, that's not that hard. There are a lot of reasons to do it. One of the most important ones is it looks good. The second most important one is that it's the recommended ratio for a thing called the OG image, Open Graph Image. That was developed by Facebook, and it means that when someone was to share this post, we haven't got share buttons on here at the moment, but if someone was to read this and were to share it, the OG image would be the image that's uploaded to Facebook as the cover image, if you like, of this particular post. And it's recommended by Facebook and LinkedIn and all of those that it should be in the ratio of 16 to 9. Even more, and this is optional and optimal, it should be 1200 pixels by 627 pixels or 630 pixels. That's the optimal one. On this site, they are smaller than that, but they are still in a 16 by 9 ratio. So let's choose 16 by 9. That looks good. Show post tags. There aren't any tags here. right at the very bottom of these last two, post navigation is this. So when you're reading one post, you can flick to the next one or flick back one. And showing related posts or similar posts is this design at the bottom, where you choose how many columns. 3 looks good, 4 gets that's a bit tight, 2 looks a bit big and blocky, so let's stick with 3, and they are on a carousel and you can flick through those. The last thing to decide in the layout is whether you want to show comments. Now, think about it. Do you want people commenting on your posts? Some do, some don't. If you do want it, it can encourage interactivity with the site, but it comes at a cost because you're leaving yourself open to a lot of spam. So if you want to go ahead and do this, you will need to make provision for spam protection, either through using a facility like CleanTalk or Google ReCAPTCHA. There are a couple around. Google ReCAPTCHA is the most common of them, most popular one. Okay, so we will publish that because that's the set we want to work with. Actually, this is on a different site, but we're going to go back one now, and we're going to now look at the archive layout. So show the archive layout. The easiest way to do that, to show what the archive is to click this, which is the category, and this will now show an archive of all the posts that are in the category Place Safety. So this is an archive. Do we want the content above, which is what we've got, or in? Let's have it above. Full width, let's leave the container standard. We'll leave the post title alignment where it is. We don't need to worry about that because we might design this later. The title elements, we can leave that the way it is. When we come down to here, once again, we don't want a sidebar in the archive. Don't need it in the archive. It's not really appropriate to make an archive narrow, and on this site it would look a bit strange to have it full width. So we'll just simply go with normal. It fits within what we have already defined in the theme as the width of the content. Fits right within that. What's our content style? It's going to be boxed. If we unbox it, you won't notice too much difference here immediately because we don't have a difference between content color, background color, and site background color. In the post, this is important. Which of these elements do we want to appear in here? You can see a few: the featured image, the categories, the title, the meta, the excerpt, and the read more. These are these elements here. And if we turn them off, you can see the effect. We definitely want the featured. We probably want, in fact, we want all of those. I think what we will do, though, just to show you how it works, is go to the meta and not show the author. So you can just delete that out of the meta because we don't have it in the single post. And so we can now, is there any more down there? That's it. So we can publish that. Now, having done that, we can now go over to the site that has none of this in place yet, and I'll take a quick break here and I'll fill in exactly what we've done on this site, and then we can start to create some posts. We're now ready to go back to our working site and create some posts and a post archive. So let's go to the dashboard, and from here we're going to go to posts. Look at all posts, and you'll see an important element of what we were looking at as we looked at posts previously was categories. Now we need to establish a category. Categories are one of a number of what are called in WordPress taxonomies. You can have custom taxonomies, but they are a way to name groups or organisation, ways to organise. And there are two available out of the box. One is categories and one is tags. So if you wanted to, like on this site that we're copying about play safety, they have some major categories. One is play safety and another category is home safety. And you might have a post that's only relation to playgrounds. Well, it would be in the category play safety. And if it was around the home to do with safety around stoves and heaters, that might be in home safety. And yet there might be some other things like playing games indoors that might be in both categories. So it's a filing system, if you like. And tags, you might tag content, all the posts that ever mentioned a ball or a trampoline or plants, and you might tag them with those so that there's another taxonomy or another way of organising other than just categories. So, but we're going to do the simple thing and have a category. Here we go. The category is going to be, I've already established it, play safety is going to be the category. And if we quickly have a look at it, quick edit, that's the name, and this is what's called the slug. Now that's the little bit that always ends up on the end of the URL so we can navigate to it. So play safety is the title, play-safety lowercase is the slug. So we can update that and we can know that we now have a category to work with. So when we go to posts, we only have the one post, which is the one out of the box, and we always delete that, but we'll leave it there for the moment just so we have one to start with. Let's go add new. And we're going to be copying, remember we're going to go to category straight away and say it's going to be in that category of play safety, and there's another place where you can make new categories. We're going to put the title in here, and let's pick this one here as the, yes, that's the one we want. Let's pick this one as the one we will take some content from, and here's the title. Copy that, and let's come across to here and let's simply add it in there. So there's the title. Now when it comes to publishing, in WordPress there are a number of stages that we can publish something at. If we publish and then it gives us another window and we publish again, it's there for the world to see. It's right out for anyone to have a look at. Now clearly we often work in drafts, and it takes a while to get it all together. And you can also choose to publish it privately. So only those who are administrators can access it, or those who you give a password to. That's another way that you can publish. But we're just going to go straight out there and choose the easiest one, which is publish, because as soon as we do that, we can preview it here, and we can preview it in a new tab, and there it is. All we've really seen so far is that we've now got a title, and we've put in place a category, and we've got the date, and here's our breadcrumb. That's all we've actually done. So we'll go back to editing the post. Now the next thing we do, well, let's have a look at one other thing, the permalink. We haven't actually set it up, so we'll come back to that. We'll set the featured image. So we go to the featured image, it's this one here. Now there's a couple of things strange about this. It hasn't really been done according to best practice. And the title of the file, they've just taken this from Unsplash, a site where you can get stock images. The title really should relate to what it's about, and so should the alt text. Now, we've talked about this before, and we'll talk about it when we do some SEO later on, but the temptation is always to skip over this bit and think, oh, I'll come back to it later. Well, you never will, unless you're doing an audit on the site and find there are so many images without alt tags. So we should put some alt text in here, and this has got to do with plants in a playing area. So that now gets saved with the image, and here it is, and we can publish it again, publish. We'll get down here an opportunity to view the post, and here it is. So we can now see that our image is in, and it's got that nice thing where the title is inset into the image, and we're now about to put the content in. So go back to editing. Now, you'll remember last week when we were discussing the basic outline of using blocks, the most important thing is when we're putting content in to remember the 3 C's. So content must always have a container, columns, and then content. So they're the 3. So the way we do that in the Cadence theme is we put a block in here. This is the first block of the content. That's the title. This is the first block of the content. And we're going to use the row layout block, and we're going to use just 1 column. So there it is. There's our container and the column. Now we're going to put some content inside, and the first thing we're going to do is have a heading. Up until the very most recent update of Cadence blocks, this used to be called advanced heading, but they've in fact, I think in our last tutorial it was still called advanced heading. Now it's called advanced text because the developers know that we would use it in a number of places, and it is the best way to get text in. So we choose advanced text, and we're going to write something. We're going to come over here and take this first heading. Now, the good thing about working with Cadence theme is that straight away we see that we're able to choose what heading level we're going to call this. The title will, when we look later on, have been assigned an H1 tag, and that is really good for search engine optimization. You must have one H1 tag in a page. From there we're going to an H2 tag here. Now we're going to place a paragraph. So we're going to go to the site that we're taking from, and here's our first paragraph. This one, we're going to copy that. It's just text. Come here and put it in. So there's our paragraph. We can update. The next thing we want to do, I believe it's another heading. So it's this one. We're going to copy that. And we're going to have an advanced text. We're going to put that in. Now, we could have already allocated that to maybe an H3, and we picked it up as we copied it. And when we copied, we've already copied the next element also, which is a list element. This is it here. And when we come over, we can select this block here as the first list item. Now notice that it's made up of 2 paragraphs with just a break in between, not a full paragraph break, but a line break there. When we come over and dump it straight in, it thinks it's 2 list items. So we can just back that back and put in a shift return, which is a line break. And then we're going to go one more and pick this piece of content here. So now we can update, view the post. You're starting to see that this post is coming together. Here is the title, there's the featured image, that's the breadcrumb, the category, that's the shortened version of the meta that we have. That's an H1 tag, here's an H2 tag, that's a paragraph, that's an H3 tag, and here's a list of 2 items. Now, for the moment, we're going to leave that there because building the content is very similar to that all the way down. We're just adding more elements. Let's go to the edit the post. And we just keep in here adding more blocks. And from the block navigation, you can see how we've gone a row layout, a section, which is just the 1 column, and then these are the blocks that we have added. We're just going to continue to add more blocks down there to build this content. For the moment, we will call a halt to there. There's one thing up in this area, you need to review the earlier video, but this gives us some idea of the post settings. We can have a look at this. Here's our featured image. The one thing I wanted to show was this, the excerpt. The excerpt, you've seen us talking about it quite a bit. Now we're going to write an excerpt there. Now, just to show you how important an excerpt is, we're just going to choose this first sentence as an excerpt. And you'll see that it's much shorter than what has been showing in some things earlier. We want this, and we want the post, and we want to go to excerpt. There it is there. And we're going to, no, we probably need to copy more than just the one word seesaws. There it is, and we're going to save that. Now, when we go to view the post now, it looks the same as before. But if we were to go to, no, we'll build the archive. Oh, if we were to go to here, and this is how the archive is currently looking. See this element in here? This is the excerpt being shown, and previously when we were looking at it, there were a lot of paragraphs there, and it made this thing way too big. The excerpt is very, very good in it. It gives you just a short, condensed look at what the content is in this post. Now, the next thing we're going to do is to build an archive. To have an archive, we need more than one post. I'm not going to bore you with going over building lots and lots and lots of posts, so I'm going to pause for a minute and put some more posts in, and then we'll pick it up in just a few minutes. So in the small break, I've created some more posts just exactly by copying across the information from the model site that we're using, and here they are here. We've just got 5 that I've put in, and Hello World. We'll very soon get rid of that one because it really isn't applicable. You can see that they are all in one category called Play Safety, and the uncategorized one. So now that we've created them, let's have a look at what one looks like. We'll just view, and there now. This brings up something very interesting, and this is in the selection of images for using in featured images. This was really not a great image to use because it wasn't sized properly. When you're getting images for featured images or anywhere on a website, you need to size the image correctly and then optimize it. In other words, you find a way to, there are lots of different ways. Converting it to WebP is very important, and also reducing the size, and there are a number of different ways of doing that. Handling images will be another issue, but sizing, this one was sized very badly. And so when we selected the 16:9, it's cut the baby's head off. You know, really you want that image to be a lot lower. So use Photoshop or something to select the part of the image that you really want, and then save it at the correct size. But here we are. We now have 5 of these, and they're all showing up here. We can look at any particular one by, that's that one, how to protect your baby from sun exposure. So we can go through them that way. There are other ways that we can access. The most common way, most universal way to access blog posts is to have blog in the navigation menu up here. So we'll do that, and that will be a long way towards it. Now, sample page is, until we build the home page properly, we're going to make this our home page, and we'll do that in this one step. So here we go. We're going to go to here, and we will go to settings. Actually, we want to go to customize and homepage settings, and we want to make the homepage sample page, and the posts page, we need to create a page called blogs. We'll do that first. New page, and we're just simply going to add a new page, and we will call it blog. That's all we need to do. Just save it like that. View the page, there'll be nothing on it. Now we go to the dashboard, to appearance, customize, homepage settings, and the homepage is going to be this one. The posts page is going to be that page, blog. Now we can save it. And all of a sudden, WordPress has automatically done some stuff. So we can go to the site. Sorry, one step we should do first. Let's go to menus. And in this main menu, we can add one more page to the primary menu. The primary menu is the one we are working on. So we want to, here it is, we want to add the blog page, add to the menu, here it is here. We'd like to change the name of that, that's a bit silly. Let's just call it home. And we can now save it. Now, just put a finger in this place. Somewhere in the next couple of weeks, a couple of tutorials, we're going to talk about the naming of a home page. That's a totally wasted opportunity to call a home page home. We can optimize the search engine, optimization of the whole site by doing something a lot better than that. Now, when we come to the site now, in the menu we've got two things, home, which is where we are, and blog. If we go to blog, this would automatically show every post that we have created, and all the categories will be listed, and you can see that they are showing this way. Now, because we've only got one category, this is not a great example. We can press that, and we're now going to the archive of the play safety category. So we could do something with that if we want. But there's really something else we would rather show you right now. When we go straight through to the home page, on the site that we are working from, they've got this interesting thing. There's an image, a title, there's some text, and then they've got on the home page a selection of posts. Now, it's unusual to put them all on the home page like this, but it's very usual to do something like latest posts. So let's do that. On the home page, we're going to edit this page. Now, we're going to put some content and everything in here later, but down in the bottom here, we're going to add another block, and the block is going to be posts. And as soon as we do that, this comes up and we see every post. Now we're able to go newest to oldest. Number of items, let's just have one row, so we'll go to 3. We don't need to filter them because we've only got one, but you could, if you want, just pick one category. You can exclude, you can include, you can really lay this out quite well. We need to add one more thing in here. We need to really put a heading in there. So we'll go add a block, advanced text, move it up so that it's sitting just here, and we need to say something like latest posts. Let's put a little bit of padding in front of it. Spacing settings, let's give it 75 pixels in front. Update, view the page. So you can see we're yet to design this part of it, but down here we've got the latest posts, just 3. Now this is showing you something about what I was meaning with excerpts. See how this is an awful lot of text, and if we were to just choose the first sentence of each of these, I'll show you how different it looks. Let's edit this post. Let's take just the first sentence, a little bit more, let's take that much. And Control C, come over here to the post settings, come down to excerpt, put this block of text in and update it. Now we view the post, but we'll go to the home page and see how different it is. Well, it's not very different in this one, but if we were to just take that first sentence, it would, you can see we can actually now have some control over how much text is shown here. Okay, so I think we've really covered the territory for today. What we've done is set it up, the global design elements for posts, for both archives and single post layouts. We've created a sticky sidebar, we've created some posts, and we've shown some selected posts, the latest posts, on the home page. I hope that's helpful, and we look forward to doing session 3 shortly.